love oneself is to know oneself. One of my favorite things about my personal growth and transformation journey is deeply excavating myself and my personality. And of course, one of my favorite ways to do that is a personality test. Welcome to episode 2 of Get In Loser. We're going self-actualizing. This is a series on my channel to kind of help you get to know yourself because you are an entire universe. If you haven't caught episode 1, it's up in the cards below, or it's up in the cards above. And I just want to say, regardless of your natal charts, your sun signs, all of it, we are just fluid spiritual beings having a human experience, meaning we have free will and choice. So nothing is truly predetermined for us. We are the co-creators of this reality. With that being said, if you are more knowledgeable, if we have some astrologists, numerologists here, please drop your wisdom down below. If I say something wrong, go ahead and correct me. Let's do this. Get In Loser, we're going self-actualizing. It's not necessarily my favorite right now, but since it was my first, it kind of just has to be my favorite. And that's number 1, astrology. Of course, I feel like this is everybody's kind of gateway into deeper self-exploration. Just to start off, I am an Aquarius sun, Pisces moon, and Gemini rising or ascendant. And I did get my natal chart read. And I think when I first started to get into astrology, I was totally one of those people that's like,
oh, that's pseudoscience.
But then I read that astrology is pretty much the language of archetypes, and I thought that was so beautifully put. And then I realized, whoa, like you have so many different signs in different houses and in different planets, and it can get really deep. Even me, I'm still, I know a little bit more than the average person, but it's still a little bit murky. There's so much more to know. I think at one point I definitely did want to become an astrologist, and I wanted to learn how to read charts and everything, but I think now there's just so much to learn. It's like learning a whole new language, and I just feel like there's so many amazing skilled astrologers out there that I don't personally feel called to it anymore. But I did get it read. I did get my natal chart read, and basically I'm a lot of air and water. So astrology is represented by the 4 elements, which is earth, fire, air, I said that right, and water. And earth is just, you know, it represents being grounded and practical. So if you're an earth sign, that's Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Fire, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It's like fiery and passionate. And then air sign is like represented by intellect or information, and that's Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And then the water signs, which are probably one of my favorite signs, is Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And these are the emotional, intuitive people. They're typically the artists. A lot of artists are water signs because there's a lot of emotion. So my chart is pretty much half Aquarius, half Pisces. I'm really split down the middle, and I'm a lot of air and water, which makes so much sense because I intellectualize a lot of my feelings, and I'm a very, very deep feeler, but I need to know how to basically make sense of it all. Piscean energy is very creative and aesthetically driven. It's very visual and making things look pretty and being very in tune with the arts and your emotion. And Aquarius is very about, it's a detached sense of energy, and it's about, you know, kind of just wanting to raise global consciousness. It's about the humanitarian aspects of our life. I like that both of these signs that I have really dominant energies in my chart, I like that they both are really interested in the raising of the spiritual consciousness of the collective. So that's something I really resonate with, and it was really fun. And honestly, when I was first getting into this journey, I really didn't identify with being a Pisces because I had been very emotionally unavailable, really repressed. I was super stoic and insensitive. Basically all of the unevolved types, all the unevolved stereotypes of an Aquarius, you know, just kind of insensitive and detached. And I definitely resonated with being an Aquarius that way. But as I've gotten deeper to know myself and deeper on my healing journey, I have been able to really unlock that Piscean energy that's really emotional. One of my favorite things about astrology, one of the points, is North and South Node. So South Node is kind of like couch potato energy. It's like what you've already done in a past life and it's comfortable to be there. And then North Node is what you've kind of reincarnated here on planet Earth to do and become, and that's your challenge. It's like, this is what you've come to do and it's really difficult, but that's what you're meant to do. And so my North Node is in Scorpio, which from what I've understood, it's like about transformation and collecting the resources and to kind of give back in a to give back to the collective. So at the time I was getting my butterfly tattoo, I found that out from an astrologer, and I really resonated with just the idea of metamorphosis, transformation. And when she told me that my North Node was in Scorpio, I was like, this makes total sense. And it felt very synchronistic in a lot of senses. And then my South Node is in Taurus, which is basically just the sign of material abundance and affluence and loving the luxuries of life, which I definitely relate to, because I love designer bags. I do love the finer things in life. There are also two types of astrology, and that's sidereal or Vedic astrology. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And then Western or tropical. That's the one that we know. That's kind of like pop culture astrology. It's more based on personality traits and characteristics, whereas Vedic astrology is based on fixed planets, and that can be more about predictive events. And I'm just getting into Vedic astrology because your signs do change, they shift a little. So I would highly just recommend looking up a natal chart calculator for both and just kind of reading it. So I'm getting into the second one, but don't really know much about that. The second one is numerology, and this is something that I discovered about 2 or 3 years ago, and I tried to exhaust all the resources on the internet that I could, and then I actually ended up getting my numerology chart read by a numerologist here on YouTube, Bridget Love, and it was really fascinating. I feel like I'm being more called to learn how to read numerology charts. I think that would be really fun, especially because it's not as widely studied or talked about, but I just love the meaning behind numbers. And let me read you what numerology exactly is. Numerology is any belief in the divine or mystical relationship between a number or one or more coinciding events. It is also the study of the numerical value of the letters and words, names, and ideas. It is often associated with the paranormal alongside astrology and similar divinatory arts. So I actually just got my natal chart read again because I just been feeling really ungrounded, and I sometimes get tarot readings, but I felt really called to actually book one of the most famous numerologists, and that's Felicia Bender, and I had a really great consultation with her this morning, and it was just really affirming, or reaffirming, I guess. Well, I don't want to make it like astrology, but your life path number is kind of like your sun sign, and I'm a life path 9, which is the humanitarian. So I have a lot of Aquarius, a lot of life path 9, and from my chart I had a lot of 9s and 8s, and 8 is kind of like the CEO or material abundance, kind of just I feel like, if I could say, this is all just my speculation, so I could be totally wrong. If you're a numerologist out there, I apologize, but I feel like it's Aries energy. It's like very boss lady, go-getter, make things done. What I also found out is personal year numbers. So every year you are going through a personal year, and there's a theme of the number, and in numerology it's a cycle of 1 through 9, and she said that I was in year 8, which is pretty much just all about, making all my dreams into action, and it has a lot to do with financial abundance, which I will attest, this is the most financially abundant I've been ever in my life, and I think it's solely just because I feel more aligned with my purpose and with what I'm supposed to do here on planet Earth, which is just, it's a lot. It's just like helping people heal and discover themselves. And so I really liked looking up that. So numerology was really cool. And then there's also a soul urge and expression number, and these all can get really deep. And she also told me about my pinnacle cycles and just kind of the challenges, and there are master numbers. 9 is pretty much all the numbers embodied in 1, and so 9s are considered one of the, I think, if not the wisest of the life path, but they also have really difficult family enmeshment issues, and from what I hear, they have really tough childhoods. So I think life path 9s, some of them are Mother Teresa, Frida Kahlo, I forget what she said, but it's always fun to look up. And then I always look up all my favorite celebrities and public figures. Oprah is a life path 4, and similar to astrology, every life path has an archetype. So life path 4 is the teacher or the advisor. Life path 8 is the CEO, the financial powerhouse. Third, human design. So this one is the most, I feel, I mean, these are all kind of woo-y, especially if you're not, I don't know, if you're not in the channel to receiving this energy, this all can seem kind of woo-y and weird. But human design, I think the origins are the most woo-y. Basically in the 80s, some man just got a huge download of these charts and of everything about human design. So I remember, I think a year and a half ago, I was really into, again, researching all of this and exhausting all of the free resources on the internet. But basically, I think there are four types of human design. And human design is, I feel like, more focused towards your career and your purpose in life, which can be really fun to find out. So let's see. So your human design chart, also called a body graph, is calculated using your birth date, time, and place to reveal your genetic design. On the most practical level, human design shows you where and how to access your body's consciousness as a decision-making tool, and ultimately how to live as your true self. So at my core, I am a generator. And if we were on, what that means is if we were on a TV set, I would be the film and TV crew set, meaning that I'm the person that makes it get done. We are the work crew, you know, we're the people that are doing multitasking, doing a lot of things at once. And then manifestors, I think, are the rarest type, and that's, I think Steve Jobs might be a manifestor. I know Michelle Phan is a manifestor, and these are people that just manifest their dreams and their goals. And then generators are the driving life force of the planet. Their strategy is to respond, and through their response to find satisfaction and avoid frustration. And then projectors are 20% of the population. Their strategy is to wait for the invitation and to find success and avoid bitterness. They have a focused and absorbing aura. I realize that a lot of my friends are projectors, and I feel like there's got to be a symbiotic kind of mutual beneficial relationship between manifesting generators and projectors. That's just my speculation. I really don't know. Manifestors are about 9% of the population. Their strategy is to inform before they act to find peace and avoid anger. They have a closed and repelling aura. Reflectors are without definition and are just 1%, over 1% of the population. Their strategy is to wait a full cycle of the moon before making decisions to find clarity, leading to a life of more surprise and less disappointment. One of my favorite things is to look up celebrities or public figures, and I thought someone that would have to be a manifestor is actually Oprah Winfrey, but she is indeed a generator, and she's actually an emotional generator, which there's a distinction between just generators and emotional generators. I am not. It makes a lot of sense because a lot of her shows had to do with spirituality and personal and emotional growth. But yeah, it's always really fun to read about that, and I believe that human design can also go a lot deeper. I follow a few human design specialists, or I don't know what you would call them. They're not human designologists, but I follow them on Instagram. But they, I feel like since it's not as widely known, there is not too much to look up on the internet. So I do know my friend Andrea is like trying to get into learning how to read the charts, which I can't wait to get a reading from her when that happens. But I think for the way that I use this is kind of just to hone in on my career and my purpose and how to go about that. Barack Obama is a projector, and that's pretty much just about getting the invitation, and mine is to inform before initiating. Like, I'm not supposed to initiate. I think that's a manifestor's thing, but I honestly still need to really get into human design myself. At one point I really did learn a lot about it, but I think it can be very helpful to understand how you move in the world and in your career. The next one is Myers-Briggs, and this one is the 16 personality types, and it's by the psychologist. And I feel like most people who are not into, you know, spirituality and think everything is so woo-y, they really like this. But personally for me, I feel like because this is self-evaluation, I think it's one of the more least accurate personality tests, right? Because if you're really unaware of who you are, you can be testing as something completely different. And I think growing up, I always identified as an INTJ, but I feel like as I've gotten older, I've definitely switched to INFJ a little. It's like a 60-40 split of thinking over feeling. The 4 letters have to do with, first, if you're introvert or extrovert, so that's E or I, and then are you more of an intuitive person or are you more in the moment, so that's N or S, and then F or T, which is feelings over thinking, I believe, or thought, and that's, are you more guided by your heart or more guided by your mind? And I feel like predominantly in my life I've been always identifying with my thought. Are you more of a planner or are you more of a go with the flow, no plans? Like, there needs to be more openness, and I'm definitely more of a planner. I think that has to do with a lot with my socialization, but I definitely do love knowing what's coming next. I can go with the flow. I feel like for the most part I need to have structure. Like, I can't work in a messy place. It's gonna drive me nuts. But yeah, this was one of the first ones I got into before I even went through a spiritual awakening, and it was really fun. I actually purchased the personality report. My friend bought it for me for my birthday, and it was really fun to read about how INTJs move and all of those things. So I think now I'm a little bit INTJ, INFJ, but I'm definitely introverted. I'm very intuitive. Also, I got another lipstick from Uomo Beauty. And then I'm gonna do it with this gloss. So the Enneagram or Enneagram, Enneagram, I probably should have looked up how to say it, but this is the one that is probably one of my least favorites, just because I know the least about it. I feel the least called to understand it, I guess. I don't know much about it. And this one has, I think, like maybe 9%, I don't know. There's a lot of types, and there's wings, I think, like wing type something, wing something. Oh man, I honestly really don't know much about it, but I've tested mainly as type 4 and type A, which is the individualist. It's, to me, I think very Piscean energy, and 8, which is Aries energy, maybe like the challenger, authoritative, and very boss lady again. But I don't resonate fully with either, but those are the ones that I got the highest percentage in. And I think that's, I don't know why, but I feel like it's really, I mean, all of these can be very categorical, but I don't know, I just don't feel that called to the Enneagram. We're almost at the end, so there's also a DISC personality test, and I learned about this because someone I was dating who worked a corporate 9 to 5, he said that they use this to identify what type of worker you are, and there are 4 factors, and or 4 types, I believe, and that's domineering, influential, steadiness, and compliance. And I tested as a D, which I definitely, I guess, resonate with. And it's a really quick test. I just found one off the internet, and it's basically just about how you cooperate with others. I feel like this is a very practical work setting type of personality test. And again, I don't know too much about it. Of course, the last 2, Hogwarts houses and Sex and the City characters. I love hearing what people resonate with and what people don't. So I am a Ravenclaw, and when I would take all the Pottermore tests and when I would take all the free tests, it would always be like 80% Ravenclaw and then 20% of the time Gryffindor. And then, you know, I always say I'm a Ravenclaw because if the Sorting Hat asked me, which I'm a total Potterhead, if the Sorting Hat asked me, I would definitely say Ravenclaw. Gryffindor to me is almost too altruistic, and it's like jumping in front of a bus to save people. I don't think that I'm that type of energy. I'm more of formulate and create a solution to get that bus to stop working, like using my mind instead of physically. I don't know. To me, that's like what I think of as Gryffindor, is like very heroic, and I think I'm more intellectually heroic, I guess. And then Sex and the City characters. Sex and the City is probably one of the most iconic, one of my favorite shows ever, because every year that I watch it, I first watched it when I was like 16, didn't really make a lot of sense, but it was very fascinating. And then I watched it when I was like 20, and then I watched it when I was 26, and the lessons are, I mean, it's a very white-centric show, not a lot of diversity, but the outfits are killer, and the lessons are cheesy, but I feel like we all resonate with, we have a little bit of each character in us, and that's what I think is so fun and dynamic about the show. So I'm definitely Samantha and Miranda. I personally didn't think I was Samantha, but one of my friends was like, I want to be Samantha, and I said, if you want to be Samantha, anyone can be Samantha, honey. And then my other friends were like, only a Samantha would say that. And I'm like, but I definitely resonate with a lot of her sexual identity and just being a free woman and being a modern woman, being very feminist, and just kind of reinventing what her sexuality means to her. But then I'm definitely a Miranda in the sense of like corporate boss lady, very practical and logical and a little bit snarky sometimes, I feel. So I definitely relate to both of those characters. I think I relate the least to Miranda. I think she's just so gorgeous and beautiful and put together, but she to me is very just conventional and traditional, and that's something I really just like don't resonate with, I guess. Yeah, I mean, can you tell? Like, look at me, I have blue hair and I'm the biggest cliche. Yes, those are all my favorite personality tests. I have a copy and paste comment template that I would love for you to fill out about all of your types and just comment it down below. Do your research, find all your things, and then come down below and share with me, because I'd love to find out about you and hear about what resonates with you and what doesn't, because I think that's the most important part of this whole self-discovery personality test journey is what do you think is you, what doesn't, and what have you discovered about yourself. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Also, I will have links and descriptions of all of my resources that I use and the people that I follow, because it's so fun. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.